Welcome, everybody, to the Rye Town Council meeting of November 17th, 2022. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make every decision fair-minded and the best interest for all its residents. Amen.
Thank you.
I'll call the roll.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Pamela Jaffe.
Pam, can you hear us? Councilwoman Jaffe is on a work assignment out of state and is joining us by Zoom. So please call the rest of the roll. We'll come back to Pam. She's here.
Councilperson Jill Axelrod.
Here.
Councilperson Thomas Nardi.
Here.
Councilperson Lindsay Ann Jackson.
Here.
And Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
Here. And Pam came on and said present.
Just wave.
I'm here. I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin.
Okay, very good.
Okay, may we?
She's on.
Adoption of minutes. We have
Yes, she's good.
We have two sets of minutes, October 20th, 2022 regular meeting, and a special meeting and budget workshop on November 7th. May I have a motion and a second to adopt those two sets of minutes?
So
I'll-
moved. If you
I'll
want to move
second.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 4, a public hearing on local law number 4 of 2022. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Local law number 4 amends the age, pardon me, not the age, amends the annual income amount for which a partial real estate tax exemption is granted. It changes it to anything less than $50,000, which is exceeds the previous amount of I believe it was 37,500. So that annual income amount has been changed. The result is that persons who make and can prove that their annual income is less than $50,000 will get a 50% exemption from their real estate assessment. And it goes down 50,000 to 50,009. I think that's incorrect, isn't it?
58,399. It goes to 5%.
From 57.5 to 58, oh, correct. I'm reading it upside down, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
50,000 to 50,999 is 45%, and then it goes down to 5% for those making 57.5 to 58,399. So those amounts were changed, and this applies currently only to the town of Rye taxes. It does not apply to the tax levy of any of the school districts, the 3 school districts in the town, or any of the villages, the 3 villages in which the town is comprised. Each of those entities must pass a separate resolution, and that resolution may follow the same limits that the town resolution does. By the way, obviously, this legislation was passed by the state of New York, enabling the towns, villages, and school districts to create, or expand rather, these exemptions. Any questions from the board? Debbie, are there any?
There are no comments
There are
on
no
Facebook.
comments?
Nope.
I know that we had received,
Yeah, I would like to note, we received a letter from one of our constituents, which has been, Debbie, pardon me, Hope, make that part of the record, the letter from Mrs. Schlank. Yeah, and I responded to that letter, that we received it. And that letter was in support of us passing local law number 4. Okay, anybody else? If not, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is closed. Now, may I have a motion to adopt local law number 4 of 2022?
So moved. I'll second.
Thank you. Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe,
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod,
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson,
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes. And Hope, would you do me a favor, please, when, when you've compiled this, would you send a certified copy of the local law and resolution to the villages and school districts? Appreciate it.
Yes, I will.
So that they know that we've done this.
Okay.
Thank you.
File it with the Secretary of State, but I'll.
Yeah,
say
yeah.
We adopted it.
Right, whatever the procedures, I just want to make sure that the schools and the villages are formally notified.
I'll do that.
And now we have a public hearing on the preliminary budget for the town of Rye for 2023. May I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing?
So moved. I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Dave, our controller, will make a very brief presentation.
So the tentative budget was submitted to the town clerk on October 28th, before the deadline. She now has the preliminary budget of record as of November 10th. The preliminary budget of record was changed from the tentative budget based on numerous work sessions with the board. And there's another work session on December 5th. And I'll just give some highlights of the preliminary budget where it stands now. And we would be looking to make final changes and have the board approve the budget at the December 15th meeting. The preliminary budget of record reflects real estate taxes of levy of $3,709,000, which is under the 2% tax cap from the prior year. There's $177,000 appropriation from fund balance. The total appropriations is 6.3 million. There's about 900,000 in transfer for debt service debt service payments. So total appropriations is 7.2 million for this year, and that's where it stands. And there's also a appropriation of fund balance for from debt service for the premium received when we went out to finance the bond. We received $512,000 in a bond premium, so we have to allocate $173,000 there. So we're going to hold to under the tax levy being under 2% tax cap this year. We're not asking the board to approve exceeding the tax cap, and we'll make some final changes, including any final salary changes for the employees, and that's going to be discussed at December 5th work session.
All right. Thank you. Questions from the board? Debbie, is there anybody on the public hearing from the public?
There are no comments.
Okay.
Only person on is Lindsay.
Uh,
Actually, that's not true. There's 4 people on watching.
All right. We will hold the public hearing open until December 15th, at which point we will close the public hearing and vote on the budget. Okay? Our next item is a resolution to change the starting time of the December 15th meeting from 6 PM to 5:30 PM. May I have a motion and a second?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And our last resolution is a tax cert for Simone Development Post Road Realty. Jeff, this is a tax cert regarding LA Fitness and the shopping center adjacent thereto.
Good evening, members of the council and members of the public. I'm Jeff Binder, the town attorney, and also one of the councils that handles the tax cert cases for the town of Rye. This case involves two properties, both owned by the same entity, Simone Realty and Development Corporation. It's the LA Fitness property as well as the shopping center adjacent to it. And this tax cert involves basically 2 years at issue, 2021 and 2022. There are what I would characterize as somewhat substantial refunds that need to be paid for 2021 and 2021, let's say. I've discussed it with the school and the village, and they're aware of them. And fortunately for 2022, actually, there will be no refunds because that would be adjusted in the coming tax roll. So no refunds need to be paid. So I would recommend to the council that, and this case actually is a fairly involved case, and it involves some substantive and lengthy negotiations back and forth between the town and the petitioner's attorney. I would recommend its adoption.
They were just seeking for, to reduce the assessment for 21 and 22.
No, they were seeking 20 also, but as part of the
As
negotiations,
part of the
we got them to discontinue the 20. And really what this is a reflection of the COVID year, 2021.
Further questions?
So the commercial property dropped as a result of the pandemic.
LA Fitness was
value.
literally closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And, there was back and forth negotiations as to whether they, the magnitude of their losses versus their support that they got from the government and what have you. The refunds to the school and the village are relatively modest. I mean, I can tell you that for the school in 2021, for LA Fitness, the refund would be about $23,000, and for the shopping center that same year, about $17,000, and the village's refund 2021 is $13,000 and $9,000. So, I mean, as settlements go, I think this is a pretty good one because they discontinued 20, and then there's no refunds to be paid in 22 because we'll just adjust the roll. So.
All right. Let me just reiterate that we review all of our tax certs, especially the ones that are upcoming, on it used to be quarterly, now it's 3 times a year, with each of the school districts and each of the villages, so that they are all completely aware of every tax cert. We have a spreadsheet. I think it's available to the public, isn't it? The
It is.
spreadsheet is on the website. So there are no surprises. They know what's happening, and we've been working in a very, very cooperative and community-minded way all together with all of the school districts and all of the villages.
And prior to any settlement, as a last, right before the council meeting or the week of, I will email and communicate with representatives of the school districts and the village and let them know, here's where we are, here's what you can expect for the refunds, so it helps their budgeting.
All right. Motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe,
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod,
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson,
Yes.
and Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes, thank you. Reports, the assessor is away. We do not have an assessment report. I don't think we need one. We have a Crawford activity report. I see Camille is anxiously waiting.
Good evening, everybody. So the year's starting to wind down, but the activity level here at Crawford just continues to increase. Our inquiries are coming in so quickly. We're averaging 40 a month. We have had 56 inquiries so far for next year, and 48 of those, the date was not available. And I don't like that number, but we don't have much of a choice.
We only have 365 dates a year. Leap year, 366.
This is next year leap year, maybe it'll be easier. And so as far as our bookings, we're up to 259 events that are booked. We have 3 proposals that are pending, 27 events booked for 2023, and 2 for 2024. The revenue also grows. And we are now at 287,000 for our revenue. That does not include security deposits, which are refunded, or staff gratuities. The fees that have been waived are at 220,000. And I know there was a lot of, there were a few questions last go around about how it worked and who was actually using the space. So I went in and just wanted to show you that we have waived the fees for 113 events. 96 of those events were school-related, municipal events. And then there were 17 events that I just categorized as miscellaneous. They're charity events. We have the Boy Scouts, the Board of Elections, etc. So those are those 17.
I have a quick question. What would
Qualify as courtesy.
Courtesy would be if there is a patron that has had a negative experience, things were not exactly as they had planned, we would credit them appropriately depending on what it was. Fortunately, we don't have too many of those.
And the net revenue, as you stated, I just want to clarify, so that is the gross revenue sans the security deposit and the event staff gratuity. It doesn't include.
They're not included in that 287.
So it does, the 287 figure doesn't include staffing costs or other
Correct,
expenses?
it does not. But as we had talked about recently,
Yeah.
it's something that we're going to start to track for 2023, and we'll be able to report it on a monthly basis. We'd like to see that. Okay?
What was the revenue that was budgeted for 2022?
205,000. So we are considerably over what was anticipated.
It may be by the end of December that will be at 50% over. In other words,
Yep.
the 205 may become 305. Since we're at 287, we only need
It's possible.
13,000 to hit 300.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else? Any questions from the board? Not?
Okay. And an update on the charging stations. The number of drivers dropped dramatically, as we know, in July after we started to charge. But what I'm seeing now is a trend upward of people coming back. You can see the numbers each month are starting to climb. And the November number is really only 50%. So there's a good chance that will be over 30 for the end of November. The sessions, same scenario, is starting to climb again. And I think it's all good, but the financials don't quite show that it is positive with the return of some folks. The reason for that is that the increase in the energy costs has made a difference. So last month, for example, it was $160 profit. No, it wasn't. It was actually $173. We were charged for the use of the electricity for 30 days. This month it's 173, so that has gone up. We've brought in $207 in revenue, and again, with the utility costs deducted, we do have a net profit, albeit kind of small. Okay.
Well, I think, we started this, we knew when we weren't charging that it was gonna cost us money. So we've gone to the point where it's not costing us money and we're still providing a service for those who choose to use it.
I mean, if the energy cost remains level, we'll see a much better return
Well,
Yeah.
this month.
I think also the increase in energy costs will make our EV charging stations more appealing because we're at NYPA's rate, a lower rate because it's a government building, government facility, so we're paying less of a rate.
And we also have the alternative of raising the rates. Now,
Correct.
we don't know what that's gonna do with demand, but it may. I don't think it matters at this point when we're dealing in a total cost of, $173 for the charging stations and a revenue of $207, so, they're not big numbers.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is that, in essence, before we charge for it, we were kind of supplementing or having the overall taxpayer supplement electricity for those who use electric cars. Now that we're asking people who use electric cars to cover what the town's paying out, I can see it where it's a benefit to those who own electric cars because they're getting a cheaper rate than they might at home due to the rising electricity, so it is a
It's an
win-win.
interesting question that you pose because we don't know who's using them. We haven't tracked license plates or
Yeah.
anything like that. So we don't know if the people using our charging stations, even have a garage with a charging station in their house, as opposed to somebody who lives in an apartment or somebody who's visiting from another location and is using the park and is just, charging while they're here. We don't know any of that. Good. Anything else?
Just a reminder that December 3rd is our third annual Holiday Lights event. There should be flyers on your desk.
So we
will
put that
start
up on the
promoting
screen?
this-
Can the public see it?
I'm sorry?
Can the public see it?
I'm not sure if they can see it. I don't have it on my slide. But actually, by the time we meet again, we'll have already taken place. So we'll have some more to report there.
As long as it's on the website and in social media.
It will be.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Camille.
You're welcome.
Vic, do you have anything to add, Mr. Director of Parks and Facilities?
Vic Federico, Director of Grounds Facilities. Just a couple of minor things. We've had the pavers around the pavilion reset, so there's no more trip hazards. The water has been turned off in the pavilion, so the bathrooms are closed for the season. We do have signs out there. And last week, we had HBO here, where we closed down the park for a day, and I have to give credit to all the patrons that come here. They followed all our leads and all our signage stating that the park would be closed, and very few came to the park that day, and HBO had a great day.
Thank you. We did that. We did that.
I don't, do you want to say something or I can just respond?
Yeah, you received it, so. Debbie, why don't we wait until we finish the agenda, at the end of the agenda? Vic, thank you very much. By the way, they have all of our information. Do they indicate that they may want to come back for another show?
Yes. Yes, definitely. They really enjoyed being here. So we encouraged them to come back, and they actually were gonna come back and take some additional interior pictures. So that, keep our fingers crossed.
All right, good. That's nice. Are we going to get a credit?
I believe we are.
Good. And
It's the first season, 5th episode.
do we know when that's going to be aired?
So first episode's gonna be in February, so I'd say March.
All right.
They're gonna let us know.
Okay, great. What was that?
Hawaii, Sicily, town of Rye.
Okay. Financial report, Dave? You have anything? I know.
No additional report, just the report that was submitted for receivables. That's sure.
0.78%. Our receivables as a percentage of our tax levy is 0.78%.
Right, of the. Right, and the total tax levy is about 200 million for all municipalities. So, and October is when we make the county whole for the 40% of the balance for the county. So as of October, we've made all municipalities whole in their taxes. So the outstanding taxes are just short of 1.7 million. That is the town receivable. So as it gets collected, then it just goes into the town funds, but it's very low compared to any other year in the last 20 years. So that's,
We'll try to
Jeff said what receivables is really, was his comment.
Yeah, well, if you look at the in rem receivables tab, we only have, actually, there's one property in the 2019 class we're in court with, and there are not 3 properties from the 2020 class anymore. One of them paid, so we only have 2 properties in that class, which will appear on the next monthly report.
Right, this takes it through October 31st, so
Right.
as there's payments that come in. So that's,
We're hoping that at the end of the year, there will only be 1 left on that list. So, anyway,
right, so.
thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Is Nick on tax collections?
Nick is having technical trouble, so he is not on.
Well, we will accept his report as submitted. Hope, do you know, was he gonna make an announcement of somebody to,
I did ask him, and he had no announcements.
no announcements, okay. And, town clerk's report, Hope is submitted. Do you have anything to add?
The only thing I would like to add is to wish everyone a blessed Thanksgiving season and holiday.
That's not part of your report.
That's the only time I get to speak.
You can speak anytime. And Jeff, town attorney report, anything else besides tax certs?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, since Hope beat me to the punch, before we adjourn, I would like to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Debbie, you had something.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to talk about our community cleanup event that's being sponsored by our Sustainability Committee is this coming weekend. It is going to be a bright, sunny, chilly Sunday morning, And I encourage everyone to bring their families, bundle up, and come join us in our community cleanup event. We have 4 locations all going on at the same time, starting at 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. And in our Rybrook location, we're cleaning up Bowman Avenue. You meet at Portchester Middle School and you park at the Rye Ridge Shopping Center. The Portchester location, we're cleaning up the Portchester Marina area. Meet on the promenade in between Colony Pizza and Bartaco. And the Mamaroneck location, we're cleaning up the approaches to the schools on Barry Avenue. So meet in the parking lot for the Sedona Tap House at 640 Boston Post Road. And we'll go from there. And then the City of Rye location is Ryetown Park. It's a beach cleanup. And everyone should meet our park director, Russell Gold, at the Tower Building at 95 Dearborn Avenue
And
in
repeat,
Rye.
what time is this?
9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Okay.
And there is you can register in advance. The QR code is on your screens. It will take you straight to our website where you can register and sign a waiver. Walk-ins are welcome, and we'll have waivers for people to sign if they walk in. And I would say, please be advised that children under 14 must be accompanied by a chaperone, an adult chaperone.
All right. Thank you. And Debbie, you received a text message. Did you reply by text?
I did. Well, it was on the Facebook post.
Oh, the Facebook post. You
Yes.
replied on the Facebook post?
I did.
Okay.
And just so, everyone knows, that message was asking or reminding us to recognize Carol Truance, who was a remarkable person. I don't know how else to reiterate how wonderful she was. We did have a moment of silence for her last month, but she's still fresh in our minds. We still really miss her. She's irreplaceable in so many ways, and she'll be in our thoughts definitely this holiday season. And the town of Rye is grateful for everything she's done on behalf of the town and the community.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor? Aye. Thank you.